Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to import your photos into Hitfilm Express as an image sequence. Then I'm going to show you how you can edit or manipulate those photos, especially if you have a shortage of photos. I can show you how you can stretch out your video. The minimum for this is 5 seconds, so let's go into Hitfilm and I'll show you how to set up your file. So first thing we want to do is open Hitfilm Express, and we're going to put in all of our dimensions, our duration, etc., etc. So if this pops up, go up to New on the top of the screen. And here we're going to choose a custom size. So we're going to go all the way down and go to Custom on the very bottom. And this is your duration, and if you look at this, mine right now is set up for 5 hours, 5 minutes, 0 seconds, 0 frames. So this is how it works from left to right. We have hours here. The first two zeros represent how many hours your video will be. The next two numbers, the 05, represents how many minutes. These two numbers represent how many seconds. And finally, the last two numbers will be the number of frames that flash on the screen per second. Okay, we're certainly not going to make a 5-minute stop motion, so let's get out of that. We'll change that to 0. Double click on the next set of zeros here and change that to 05. Okay, and so we should have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 5, 0, 0. So we have a 5-second duration set up there. Our size is going to be 720, so I can, basically what I did there is I unclicked this, so these are no longer linked, so now I can type in any numbers I want. 720 by 540 pixels. The frame rate on this assignment is of course 10 frames per second. We don't have that here, so we can just type it in. And if you look at this, all of these numbers are right. So we have a custom template, 5-second duration, 720 by 540, 10 frames a second, right? Okay, so watch what happens when I click OK. All right, so looking at this now, you can see this is my, up on the top here, this black window, the square window, is my viewer. That's what I'll use to watch my video. Down here it shows you the time. It says from 0 seconds to, wait a minute, 12 seconds, 5 frames. That's not what I told it, right? I told it 5 seconds only. Don't panic if that happens. That might be a glitch, or I might be missing something. If that shows that you have a 12-second, don't stress. Go up to File on the top of the screen. Choose Project Settings. And sure enough, it says 12 seconds, 5 frames. That's not what I told it, right? So I'm going to double-click in here again and change it one more time. And that will fix it. So change the 1205 to 0500. That's good now. We should be good to go. Everything else is the same. Click OK. And sure enough, now we have a 5-second. So don't panic if your settings don't stick the first time around. The second time around they do. I don't know. That just seems to be how it works out. So now that we have our duration set up, now we want to import our images. Down here on the bottom, this is your timeline with your scrub key or your scrub bar here. You can scrub across. This is where inside of the timeline here is where you'll be doing your editing. Just to the left of the timeline, you'll see some tools that we're going to be using, such as a razor blade, a hand grabber tool, things like that. Then to the left of these tools, you'll see media, effects, controls, and history. In this case, we want to click on the media tab in the lower left-hand corner here. Media tab, and then where it says import, just beneath that, you're going to click the little arrow that says import special media. So if I click that arrow to the right of import, I'm going to choose image sequence. Now I'm going to go find my folder In this case, my picture sequence folder is right here on my desktop. Click open. And now all the photos inside here, I'll have to select those because I had it in an additional folder. So I'm going to click the first photo, click once on it, scroll down. On the last photo, hold down Shift like we did before and select that. Now I have them all, and I click open, and there it is. Notice this. This is really cool. Hitfilm Express actually takes all your photos and makes a video sequence for you. And if you look at this, you'll notice here that it's only 3 seconds and 4 frames long at 10 frames a second. Well, that's a problem, right? Because my timeline is set up for 5 seconds. So how am I going to fill in all this gap here? It says the editor sequence settings differ to this clip you were adding. Do you want to change the editor sequence of settings to match the clip? You can just say yes if you want. Okay, so now I need to fill up 5 seconds of space here. So I've got all this blank space on my timeline. So how can I do that? Well, one way you can do it is to create a still frame and extend that out. So I'm going to extend this first frame out since they're not doing anything. And the way you do that is I can't slice the first frame, but I can forward it to where the first and the second frame meet. So if you go up above your timeline and you see there's your play button, your play control will play your video. And the outside button here will rewind it to the beginning. If I want to go to the point where the first frame ends and the second frame begins, I'll click the forward arrow just to the left of the play button. It's called next frame. Click that, and now, oops, I did too many. Click this once, and now this is my first frame here. So what I want to do is separate the first frame from the rest of the video. So I'm going to grab my razor tool on the toolbar, or my slice tool. When the line turns red there on my scrub key, then click the razor, and that separates these two. So now I'm going to go back and grab my selection tool, and I'm going to grab the rest of the video and drag it out along my timeline. I may accidentally drag it to another video timeline. See how I accidentally did that? Just hit Control Z, and that'll bring you back down here. And that's probably a little bit long, but let's extend that out maybe to about there, okay? So now I've got this one clip here, this one frame, just them standing there, and I'm going to extend that out here by grabbing what's called the rate stretch tool. It's a little S tool here in your toolbar. Grab that, come over here to the very end of your still frame, click the mouse button and drag it out. Now I've extended that still frame right here. And if it looks like it shortened the clip, don't panic. If I go down to the bottom where the tools are, go all the way down to the bottom, here's my zoom slider. You can see that I'm zooming back out. I've extended this. I haven't shortened it. So instead of 3 seconds, 4 frames now, I'm at 3 seconds, 6 frames. So I did extend that out effectively. Okay, so now I can watch this and you can see that it just stays still for a little bit longer. So now I want to effectively find a few spots where I can create a few more pauses. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my scrub key here. And I'm going to scrub through my timeline frame by frame. Here, let's have them maybe pause right there when they start hugging, just for a second. Grab my razor tool. Slice that. And now I'm going to grab my, just below the rate stretch tool, it's called the track select tool. This tool will select all your clips after this one that I sliced. So I'm going to grab this. In this case we only have one clip, but that's okay. And drag that out. And notice there, drag that out. And now all I want to do is grab this last frame. So I can go like this, and I can just drag this over one frame. Or if I go up again where my play button is, instead of next frame, I'll go to the one that's pointing to the left, called the previous frame. Click that once, and that takes me back to this also. Okay, so now I'll grab the razor tool. When that line turns red, click it. And now I'll go back and grab my S rate stretch tool here. And I'll just stretch this out. And now I've effectively stretched this still frame out. And so now we're getting closer to 4 seconds in our timeline. Okay, so now you can see things are happening. We're getting closer to the 5 second. So now I'm going to look for one more spot to pause maybe, or a couple more. So here they're doing their rounds here. Maybe have them pause there for a second. Click my razor tool again right there. Grab my track select tool on the bottom just beneath the rate stretch tool. Drag this out a little bit more and let's have them pause right there. So we'll go back to our selection tool. Up by the play controls, I'm going to click previous frame. Take it back to that. Click razor tool, separate that so we just have that frame. Grab my rate stretch tool and do the same thing at the end of the clip. Just left click and drag it. Now we're over 4 seconds long, so we're doing good here. Let's watch the clip. You see how they pause? So every once in a while you can do a little pause there, and that takes care of the problem. So let's have them pause maybe right there for a second. Or maybe right there. I like that. Let's razor that. Okay, again, go up here to my previous frame button. Razor this for a still frame again. Okay, grab my track select tool. Although you can probably just use your cursor tool as well. So the track select tool is effective when you have more than one clip that you want to move at once. All right, that might be a little long, so let's bring this back over here. Now we'll take this clip and rate stretch it. Okay. All right, so one last thing I want to show you that's kind of cool as we're approaching 5 seconds. I want to show you can also stretch out your video clips, which is even cooler. So let's go ahead and do some of these here. We'll just stretch them out to slow them down a little bit. So you can see, if you can see, the second clip is a video clip. Let's slow that down just a little bit, not much. So right there, this is a moving clip. So now this is where I want to grab my track select tool. So now watch, if I grab this third clip, it grabs all of them and moves them all at once. I don't want to stretch this too much. So right there is probably good. Again, we're approaching 5 seconds, so that's good. Now I'm going to grab my rate stretch tool on this video clip and extend that. So that's a great way to slow down your moving clips too and stretch those out. Okay. Now this one is also a still clip, so I'm going to leave that one alone. But we can rate stretch this one a little bit, or we can leave that one. Maybe slow this one down right here, right? Let's try all of them actually. Let's slow this one down too. So on this clip, the rest of these I need to drag over, so I'm going to grab my track select tool, grab from the clip that I want to drag, and just do that one a little bit here. Grab my rate stretch tool, drag that over, scrub over, again past the still clip, and we'll stretch this one out just a little bit as well. So grab my, well, let's see how we are with time. We're good. So I'll grab my track tool here. I believe this is the still clip I want to move. Yep. Okay, I'm going to move this one over. About yay so. Grab my rate stretch tool. Boom. Done. Okay. And then the last one is maybe just drag this last video clip over till I hit the 5 second mark. Okay. So I'm going to grab this, grab my rate stretch tool, and just stretch that over till we hit 5 seconds here. And let's see what we've got. Okay, and so if you look at this here, we're 5:01 at this point. So not bad, we actually did pretty well. So I can grab this now and just drag it over one frame, And we should be exactly at about 5 seconds there.